it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 89 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Digital Federal Credit Union, better known by all of us by now as simply DCU. Today, every dollar counts, and DCU understands that, and they've got ways to help your money work harder for you. Like, say you love your car, but you don't love your current auto loan. You can refinance with DCU, and that could put you back in the driver's seat with a lower monthly payment. They offer the same low rates to their members for new and used vehicles. And you can find out what DCU could mean to you and your current auto loan when you refinance. All you got to do to get more information is visit DCU.org. Refinance your current auto loan with DCU at DCU.org. All right, before we get to this week's episode, I want to send some love to some of those that have Mistress Carrie Backstage Passes on Patreon. A Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass is super easy to get, and it gives you tons of bonus content. Pictures, blog posts, discounted coupons for the online Mistress Carrie store, a monthly exclusive live stream. You can submit questions for podcast interviews, get access to free concert tickets, and so much more. So a big hello to Christy, Julia, Michael, Brianna, Danielle, Jen, Wendy, Peter, Donna, and Kim. And to get more details on the Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, go to patreon.com/Mistress Carrie or click the link at mistresscarrie.com. Okay, I'm super excited about my guest this week because this is his second appearance on the Mistress Carrie podcast. Way back on October 21st of 2020, we got to meet Ayron Jones for the first time. Long before his album Child of the State came out, long before the Seattle Kraken started using his music in the arena, and long before he started dominating the rock charts nationwide. Ayron Jones is a songwriter, singer, and guitar player from Seattle, and we had an absolute blast on episode 20 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. Well, this is episode 89, and we thought it was about time to reconnect with Ayron and find out what the last year and a half of his crazy life have been like, what the success of his album Child of the State has meant, how it's felt to actually get back out on the road and perform in front of crowds, and how he's managing his life with not one, but now two small kids at home. And I happened to catch up with Ayron while he was in the car on his way to the airport to fly to Paris, which was totally fitting because we did the interview on Valentine's Day. Aww, I absolutely love Ayron and I love his music. And if you missed episode 20, definitely go back and listen to it. But allow me to introduce you once again to Ayron Jones.
Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Ayron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie. Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Mr. Jones.
Miss Carrie, how are you?
I am fantastic. Happy Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day to you, too.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm on my way to Paris right now. We're head to the airport. Got some work to do in Paris for a couple of days and then head back. We'll a short turnaround.
The city of love on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I've been trying to keep up with myself, man, stay healthy and keep my energy up. But it's been a lot of work, man. It's been a lot of really great things happening, but with that comes a big workload. So, I'm trying to keep up with myself.
The first time you and I met, we talked on episode 20 which was back in October of 2020. The record hadn't come out yet. Your life has changed so much.
Yeah.
How are you holding up with all of this? Because it's like you got shot out of a cannon.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. I've been doing good, man. I mean, for the most part, I think the transition from where I was then to now, the most difficult part is just like realizing who you are to other people. Like a rock star versus, living dad and husband life. That's been like the most difficult balance, I think, to try to figure out. But other than that, I'm doing really great.
When you and I met, you were getting ready to release and were working on Child of the State. And when you're trying to release an album like that and introduce yourself, there's always a lot of uncertainty. Are you surprised by the reaction that the record has gotten so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always like really nervous before I drop anything. I'm always like self-doubting myself. Like, am I who they say that I am? That kind of stuff. But so when it came out, I was definitely shocked and surprised that it received such a warm welcome and like that people have taken to it so well. I mean, even the iHeartRadio thing was a bit of a shock for me. So it's all been a shock for me this year.
You got nominated for Best New Artist at the iHeartRadio Awards, which are going to be given out next month. So you could win a massive award too. Or is that a curse to win a Best New Artist thing? Or is that just a Grammy?
That, man, I think it's weird because I've been asked this question before. The Grammys have nothing to do with the work you put in. The Grammys have everything to do with like your artistry. Like, are you paying respect to the art? At the highest level, are your peers able to look at your work and say this is really truly the torchbearer of the art? Whereas like the iHeartRadio Music Awards, the Billboard Awards are purely based off of your numbers. So I think for me, being a big radio kid, this is probably a bigger deal right now than the Grammys. And not to say in the future the Grammys may be a bigger deal, but right now, as a person who's been putting all my work into radio, it's a really big deal to be nominated.
When you're watching your songs climb up the rock chart the way that they did, which was not a surprise to me, because when I heard the record the first time, I was like, oh my God, this album is amazing. It's exactly the album I think that you talked about wanting to make. But were you sitting back kind of pinching yourself like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was all surreal. Like, you don't, I've been doing this for such a long time. I think that's the dream, is you always want to see your name up there in the charts, and even just top 40, like just to be in the top 40, it's really what you want, to be, to watch, I worked for 10 years as an indie artist and then all of a sudden, like you get your big break and then, just to be considered top 40 is a big deal for most rock artists, most people period, just to be in the top 40. So the fact that all my singles have broken into the top 5 or the top 3 even, it's definitely a bunch of pinch yourself moments where you have no idea what to expect. And like the fact that, you come out and you're now one of the biggest emerging artists in rock and roll, like it's a dream come true. I'm always pinching myself.
You talk about being an independent artist for 10 years. Now that you are becoming a quote unquote, like mainstream successful rock artist, is it easier for you to prepare for that because you were an indie artist for so long? Can you imagine having the last year of your life happen as a brand new artist?
I couldn't. And that's why I really do feel for a lot younger people. There's a lot of kids who come up in like, the Disney brand or the Nickelodeon or like, they get prepped for stardom and then they take that and they move over into, becoming, stars in the music world. So I feel for people that are shy, like Kurt Cobain, for instance, was not ready for that, and I can understand why he fell to the wayside when it comes to some of that stuff. It's like, you don't know what you're ready for. I mean, like, no one can prepare you for fame. No one can prepare you for what is on the table when you become, famous through your art and recognized for what you do. So I'm really thankful for the fact that I spent those 10 years grinding and preparing myself for this moment. I don't know how I would have taken it otherwise.
You also have a chance to kind of solidify your band. And to not make live mistakes because you've played so many shows where you're able to kind of make mistakes that now aren't plastered all over the internet.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and having played live, I mean, that was always my bread and butter, right? Like play my live shows were always on point. It was a matter of figuring out how to put that on a record. That was kind of like the part that I really had to learn. But now it's like, now we get out there, it's butter, it's like we get out there and it's almost nothing because we're just like, that's what we were prepared to do, And so the hope is to keep making good records and then just to keep bonding with my band and really expressing that live.
When I see the tour schedule and the shows and the festivals that you have coming up,
yeah.
How do you go from being that live independent artist to kind of being a new artist to then all of a sudden go, okay, we're playing this?
Right. There's nothing that can prepare you for that, man. You just go out there and you do it, and like, I think I was a little more prepared for it than I think some of my bandmates were, like they'd played before, but never at this scale, and so me and my bass player had been, we've been in this for a while. We've got glimpses of that over time, but this was a bigger deal. I think that nothing can really prepare you for that. You got to get out there, you do it. And, what really does help though over time is being able to open for bands like Shinedown and seeing how they do the big shows live. That stuff, you take away from that and you get bigger and bigger because of those cats,
I loved the Instagram picture you put up with Zach Myers, and you guys were balling in front of the jet. Like,
oh, it was crazy.
When you just sit there and you're looking at Zach and you're on a private jet, what?
Yeah. I'm asking myself the same thing, man. Like Zach's just like cool in the cut. Zach, this is his life now. It's like I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm trying to play it cool. I think I told somebody, I was like, I was geeking out in my head, but I had to play it cool because we're rock stars, and so but I was trying to play it cool, man. It was an experience of a lifetime, man. I'm forever thankful for that, and me and Zach have become really good friends just because it's little stuff like that. I mean, not only the other Shinedown guys, one of a kind cats, and they're super nice, almost like disturbingly nice, right? Like, I remember when I first met Brent, I was like, there's no way someone can be this nice. I thought he was faking it. I really did. There's no way someone could be this just gesturous and this nice, and so he, it was actually a blessing. I mean, honestly, he's such a really cool cat. All those guys are really great, but I think me and Zach formed a bond and a friendship. I think that's going to last a lifetime.
Well, you guys are both amazingly passionate about what you do, both great guitar players. But the other thing that you have in common is that you also have this amazing quiet part of your life where you have this amazing family life and young kids.
Yeah.
How has it been maintaining that through all this year?
It's definitely been a challenge, but my wife has been my rock, man. I mean, she's been holding it down for me and the family. I mean, it's been hard. I mean, she got COVID even when I was out on the road. I almost came home off a tour because she got COVID and was taking care of a brand new baby and a 2-year-old, and so, I'm thankful for her. I mean, like, it's not everybody can go through what we have to go through as individuals who are touring or have the family life that you have. It's like really difficult. So it really takes a really strong person to be able to put up with all that. I mean, including the girls and all the other crap that comes along with that, like that it takes a really strong person. So I'm so thankful that my wife has been in my corner, in my rock, and been as loving and as forgiving as she's been, because it's difficult, man. It's not an easy task that we're asking of our partners, And so Zach has the same kind of thing with his wife, and very much so with me and my wife. It's like, we know that the road that we're traveling is a very special road. It's one that very few people ever get to travel. And, I'm very thankful that I have someone like my wife in my corner, to love and care for me and cherish what we have,
When you and I met, we spent some time talking about our significant others and how neither one of them are real rock fans. And, and both of our spouses being more country music fans, which is a little bit of a stretch for you and I. With everything that's happened over like the last year and a half, how has she been handling this whole new level of rock stardom? And has there been anything now that has she made her way more as a rock fan, basically?
I think she's definitely opened up more as a rock fan. She wasn't huge in the rock before, but I think that just me being a part of it has kind of thrown her in a position to learn and explore this new genre, especially because it's like, especially with lifestyle stuff. I mean, you read about rock stars, you read about like the stuff they go through, and it's like, when she's like, why are you acting like an a-hole? And I'm like, go read about it. You'll see everything's crazy, So, I mean, she's definitely taking the time to figure out what's going on. And it means a lot to me because it's like, I'm going through something that a lot of people don't go through. And it's easy for people on the outside in to look and go, oh, you don't have to do that. Well, no, you don't have to do it. But I don't care who you are. You can resist as much as you want to. At the end of the day, it's you're living at this extreme high, and it's sometimes it can be hard not to get carried away with it.
All of us here on the show feel like we're on this journey with you because we got to know you kind of before Child of the State came out. And one of the things that nearly brought me to tears, and I want to know what it was like for you, was the Puget Sound soundtrack at the Kraken game.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, now being from Boston, growing up a Bruins fan, and knowing that hockey fans are rock fans, to watch your team come out on the ice to your song and to see the reaction of the crowd.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, the first time I saw it on Twitter is when I found out about it. And it was heartwarming. I mean, I definitely shed a few tears just to feel that, to be from my hometown and for an expansion team to, first of all, come to Seattle. I mean, that was a big deal for us, but just to be able to be considered as someone that the city took pride in enough to want to use my song as a soundtrack. I mean, it was unbelievable.
I'm watching that going, oh my God. First of all, I was hoping you were there. And then when I found out you were watching it online like the rest of us, I was like, did you know they were going to do it?
No idea. I had no clue.
No way, really?
Yeah, I had no idea that was going to happen.
Oh, well, now I'm hoping that you're going to be able to go there and do it live.
Oh, man. I actually got a chance to go play the national anthem there and experience it for the first time live. And it was really heartwarming, which is funny because also a lot of cats don't realize that who I am or know what's going on with me. They don't know that this kid from their town, because Seattle's such an isolated place, and it's really into whatever Seattle's doing at the time period. So when a kid breaks out from their town, they don't really know what's going on until, this moment happens. And so for me, it was a big moment, and I got to go see it. And so a lot of people, I listened to Boys from Puget Sound sitting next to people that had no idea that I was the one that wrote and performed the song, in my hometown. So but it was an experience to say the least. The Kraken organization took a real liking to what I do. And it made me feel special. I mean, put me on these ice, they call them ice side seats, and got to watch the whole game from there and sit right next to the bench. It was amazing. It was amazing.
When you look back at everything that's happened in the last year and a half since we met, is that the most surreal experience for you? What's the craziest thing that's happened so far that you're just like, okay, hold on a second.
What are we doing? That would probably be chatting with Mick Jagger backstage right before sound check at the Rolling Stones gig. That was the moment for me. I think that's where I was like, I don't even know who we are anymore at that point, because I mean, think about it. We were gone for about 3 months, almost 4 months on tour, and in that short amount of time, I mean, things blew up. They got substantially big, and so to be backstage all of a sudden and talk. I mean, we were going up for sound check. He's coming off from his sound check. He walked right past me. And he stopped. He saw me and came over and talked to me. I was like, man, this is the guy right here, And that was a moment for me that I'll never forget. It was surreal just to be sitting there. I'm talking to Mick Jagger, but not as a fan, as a peer, and a fan, but as a peer, as a person who saw something special in me and made sure that I was the one that opened for his band in a special moment.
Yeah, that's kind of, because he's not just famous, he's famous to your parents. He's famous to your grandparents.
Crazy.
Well, I want to talk to you about the new single.
Yeah.
Because it's Valentine's Day, and this song is kind of hilarious. Tell me the story behind this song.
It's a song that was written by Paul Meany and a cat named Tarek Jafar. It was just a silly song, man. I enjoyed it because it definitely embodied a bit of my personality. But it was more, when I talk to those guys about it, I mean, they didn't really give me too many details, but we've all felt that way at one point or another, man. When you're crushing on your friends, that's just the thing. I think no one's really talked about that in the song. So Hot Friends for me is just a sexy song. I mean, when I think about my music over time, it's been, I like sing dark stuff. I sing about dark and heartbreak and, darker topics, So for me, to sing a song like this, it was just fun and goofy. I felt like it was so necessary, especially because listen, man, I mean, you're not making records unless the ladies are bobbing their heads and shaking their hips. You know what I mean? So for me, it was important to make a song like that for the ladies as well.
Well, that's been a thing in rock and roll that the times when rock kind of shunned ladies, rock suffered because
definitely.
we're huge rock fans too.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
And we like having songs written about us. We just don't like hearing that you think our friends are hot.
Well, maybe you are the hot friend. Maybe you're the hot friend. Who knows?
I started asking musicians and songwriters this question, and I'm dying to hear your answer. Because you're such a great songwriter yourself, I want you to give me an example or two of songwriting that you consider to be perfect. A song from any genre, any artist, I don't care who it is, but a song that you're like, man, I wish I wrote that song, because from the craft of songwriting, you think it's perfect. But then I want you to tell me why.
I'm going to give you two, okay?
Yep.
Stan by Eminem was one of the greatest, most creative songs that's ever been written of all time. And then I'm going to give you Yesterday by the Beatles. And those are two of the greatest songs ever written, in my opinion. Simply because for Stan, Eminem was known for being this goofy character and like kind of talking a bunch of trash and like being the provocateur. But he had yet to really show like what he could put out there. When Stan came out, I remember this unbelievable story where he switched. It was able to embody two different characters and tell the story from one perspective. Amazing songwriting, in my opinion. And then Yesterday, that is such a simplistic and basic song when it comes to like the chord structures and all that, but it says everything it needs to say in those little phrases. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Everybody on the planet can relate to that at any given moment in their life. So those are the two greatest songs to me.
Did you watch that Beatles Peter Jackson special? Did you love it?
I haven't seen it yet. I've been recommended to watch that. I haven't seen it yet though.
What about the Super Bowl yesterday? What did you think of the halftime show? Speaking of Eminem.
I lost my mind. I was geeking out. I was like, oh, finally something for us. Yes. And I was like, I'm getting old. Wait a minute.
I love the headlines today that people are shocked that Snoop Dogg got caught smoking pot right before it started. Like, why is anybody surprised by that?
Why would Snoop Dogg do that? Why would he do that? That's insane. Who does he think he is?
Were you cheering for the Rams because they're West Coast, or who were you cheering for?
Yeah, inevitably I'm cheering for the Rams for their West Coast, though. But, you always want to watch the underdog, too. So Cincinnati was in my heart as well. But, especially after the Super Bowl halftime, you couldn't help but cheer for the Rams. You're like, they got to win now,
So tell me about, for anybody that's seen the show and seen you on the road before, this new tour now with COVID restrictions being let up in a lot of places, now that more people are familiar with the album and your music, how are you changing up the live show now based on the size of the stage that you're playing?
Oh, the things that are changing, more crowd interaction. I think, learning how to utilize our space more. When you get used to playing on smaller stages, the sound is really good because you guys are compact, but like, when you try to take it to a big stage and translate, you have so much space to fill up, and then the audience gets kind of bored. You don't realize like one thing that I should talk to my guys about as we're perfecting our show is like, you have your own audience in front of you. My guitar player has his own audience in front of him. I've got the center stage, and then my bass player is over here on the right side of the stage. It's like we have to be big, and that's what being big is about. Yeah, if you want to be a big band, you got to be big. So I think that's the biggest one is like learning how to be a big band has been the big thing for us, especially with the COVID restrictions being let up. Like we really had to learn how to get the crowd into it and interact with the crowd as much as possible.
And you're incorporating cover songs into it, covering Nirvana like you were talking about.
Yeah. That's important too, because, when cats don't know who we are, we're a live band, but if we're brand new to the same majority of the audience, they're not going to connect to everything we do, right? We're going to play those first three of my original songs, but then we got to do something that they know, because so that they understand that we get them too. And that's why that Breed cover is so important in the set list.
Where is some place that you went on this past tour that you were shocked at the reaction that you got because you had either never played there before or you just couldn't believe the fans went as crazy as they did?
Paris, France was it for me.
Really?
Paris, France was it. That was the biggest one. I never stepped foot in Europe playing music ever, never been, it's different in America where you had an indie career, you popped up here, popped up there, but to be in Paris and to have an audience full of people singing your songs and like just praising you the whole time, loud and in your face, it was beautiful, man. That was out of everything I did, that brought everything together for me. And last year, everything I did, that was the moment when I was like, wow, this is really happening. because here we are overseas, and it's a packed out crowd that knows your music, knows it intimate, doesn't just know your music. They know every word to every song.
I think this might be the first interview I've done on the show where there's been a sleeping baby behind you.
Yes, he's passed out. Oh, not anymore. He's awake now.
I thought for a second that it was a picture.
There's two of them.
You have these mirrors so that you can keep your eyes on them. Oh my God, they're so beautiful.
They're my kiddos. I love these kids.
How have you been kind of wrapping your brain around the role of a new dad during all of this?
Oh, you just do the best you can. I mean, nothing prepares you. I mean, for mother or fatherhood, you never to be a parent. Nothing prepares you for that. You kind of learn as you go and then adjust to your lifestyle as you can, And so I think that's just it. I'm taking a day at a time and figure out what they need every single day and try to provide for them as best I can, Other than that, though, there's no playbook for it. I mean, people would like to think there's a playbook, read a book or something about it. And sure, a book can provide some insight into the science behind children, but it's not going to teach you how your kids are with you or with anything else, So you have to take the day at a time and have an endless amount of forgiveness for yourself and your kids, because it's not easy,
And you have a massive responsibility to expose them to the best music possible as they grow up.
Oh, absolutely. They've done some cool stuff already too, and they will continue to.
Well, I know that you're at the airport getting ready to go to Paris on Valentine's Day, so I don't want to keep you.
Yeah.
It was so good to see you and catch up.
It's so good to see you, good talking with you, and I can't wait till we can see each other again.
I know. The tour with Shinedown and everything, none of the dates are coming close to me. So what's going on? Are you going to release more dates? When am I actually going to get to see you live in person?
I'm with Cole Wenzel coming for some weekend dates this March, and then again in April we'll release some more dates. So I think we'll probably see you sooner than later. But there's a lot of dates heading out east and Midwest and South. So we'll see you soon here.
All right. Well, travel safe. Happy Valentine's Day. Kiss the kids. Congratulations. And hopefully you'll get that iHeartRadio award next month. Good luck.
Hey, I'm crossing my fingers,
All right, Ayron. We'll see you soon.
All right. We'll talk soon.
There he is, Ayron Jones, and the tour kicks off on Thursday, February 24th in Detroit, and he has got dates booked all the way through August, and just like you heard in the interview, more dates on the way. If you're looking for Ayron Jones online, all of the links to find him are in the show notes of this podcast. You'll also find the link to episode 20 of the Mistress Carrie podcast if you missed that episode, and there's a link for the corresponding playlist. Every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast comes with its own playlist that is filled with all of the music that we talked about in the episode. You'll also find all of my links for my socials and my website as well. And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday. Plus, every weekday, you get the Sit Rep, which is all your rock news, music headlines, and industry info in less than 5 minutes. Thanks once again to our sponsor, Digital Federal Credit Union. You can find them online at dcu.org. You can also join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern on my Facebook page for my video show called Cocktails in the War Room. And new in the online store at MistressCarrie.com, vinyl transfer stickers and pins. The Mistress Carrie podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.